Hey guys, I am back with another video for you today. Today's video is going to be, I'm sure you have already guessed it by my appearance and by the title of this video, it's going to be a first impression slash review. Now I know that we are in August and I did want to film a July favorites video for you, but I noticed that a lot of the products that I have been using and I have been loving are a lot similar to those of my June favorites video. So I didn't want to just film a favorites video just for the sake of filming a favorites video, but I have been using quite a few new products, so I figured that I would just wait until August to share those with you because I just bought them. They're really new, and though I have been loving them, I just want to continue to use them for a while prior to me filming a favorites video and throwing them in there. So this is what we're going to be doing today. I do leave for Cabo tomorrow and I'm super excited, so I did want to get a video up for you guys this week. So I figured I would do a first impression kind of review video for you today, so that is what we're going to be doing. Alright, so the foundation that I'm going to be reviewing is the Maybelline SuperStay Better Skin Foundation, and then I am also going to be trying out the concealer along with it. Now I've heard some really good things about this specific concealer and foundation, so I definitely wanted to give it a try out for myself. I am pretty oily, if you guys don't know already. I am super oily, so I am really hoping that this works out for me. I'm also hoping that the color works out for me because it's hard to color match in drugstores. Like if you ever shop drugstores, it's so super hard to color match, so I'm really hoping that these work out for me. If not, we'll just make it work. We'll just keep going. Alright, so first off I want to start with the price. I did pay $9.98 for my foundation, and for my concealer I paid $7.82 for mine at Walmart. I do have the website up right here, so I will go over how many shades they have and kind of state the claims that the website has on this specific foundation. So they do, this foundation does come in 16 shades, 16 super saturated shades, that's what it says, and it says why you'll love it. It's also on their bestsellers, so if you open up Maybelline, it's actually on their bestsellers, under their bestsellers. So it says why you'll love it. What it is, it's a SuperStay Better Skin Foundation, provides all-day flawless coverage and improves skin over time. The benefits: Maybelline oil-free skin transforming foundation features acetyl C and broad spectrum titanium dioxide sunscreen SPF 15. That helps to achieve better looking skin in just 3 weeks. Our fade proof formula won't transfer and looks just applied all day. So we will see. Alright, so let's just get started with this. I got mine in the shade 45 Sand Beige, and the concealer I got is the 30 Light Medium. I was going to get the darker one, but it just looked a little too dark for me. It was the, not light medium, but the medium, but it just looked a little too dark for me. So we're just going to see if this works. Alright, so I'm going to be applying half my face with my brush and then the other half with a beauty blender. So let's just pop this right open. I do have primer on my face right now, which is the Murad Invisible Perfecting Shield Primer. That is what I love to use. I use that with all foundations, no matter what. So I just wanted to apply this foundation like I would my other foundations. So I love that this has a pump. So I'm just going to pump this out on the back of my hand. It is a rather kind of like in between. It's not too runny, just a little thick. Alright, let's try this. So you guys know I do have a birthmark on this side. I also have like a little pimple going on here. So we're just going to see how well this applies. Color does not look too bad at all. I don't know if that's the foundation that smells or my beauty blender. I mean, so far it looks good. My dog is down there gnawing on her bone, so I apologize if you hear the noise in the background. Okay, so that was just one pump, and that's the first side. I mean, so far it looks so good. It looks good. Now we're gonna go on the other side and try it with my brush. This is the Morphe M439 brush. This is the brush that I typically like to apply foundation with. I mean, I hate when I make funny faces when I apply foundation. I try not to, but it's so hard. Do you hear her drinking water? Okay. So far the application of the foundation is not bad at all. I prefer Beauty Blender. In my opinion, I really like the Beauty Blender as opposed to the brush, which is typical for most foundations for me. I just feel that the brush kind of left it a little streaky on this side. I don't know if you can tell, but I can definitely see it in the mirror. It's a little streaky, and I don't like the way that it didn't cover up my nose all the way. So I'm just gonna take the Beauty Blender and go back over and kind of apply a very light coverage of this and see if I can build it up. I don't really go directly under my eye area with the foundation. I kind of leave that open so that the concealer doesn't get cakey at all under there. Too much product underneath the eyes tends to cake up for me, so. Okay, so overall the coverage is not bad at all. You can definitely still see my little blemish that I do have here. It covered up my birthmark pretty good. So let's go in with the concealer. Alright, this is what the packaging looks like. And it does have the doe foot. So I'm just gonna apply. Ooh, this is really, really, really light. Maybe I should have got, yeah, that's super light. I should have got the darker one, but we're just gonna make this work. Yeah, it's really light. It's really thick. Kind of reminds me of the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. Like that kind of consistency. It does have more of a pink undertone, the light medium does. So I guess I could have went with the medium, would have been better. So that is what the concealer looks like. I'm gonna finish up the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. Alright guys, so here is my full face completed with bronzer, blush, eyeshadow, mascara, everything that I would typically do. I still have you zoomed in because I do have a few little things that kind of bother me about this foundation. Now, I personally like a full coverage flawless foundation. Now what I mean by that is I like a very full coverage foundation that does not look cakey on the skin, and I feel like if I were to build this foundation up, it would get really cakey on my skin. Right now I can definitely say that I like the way that it applied. The color was nice. The concealer color was not my best match for me. I could have went a shade darker. However, with this particular foundation, you can still see Like, I don't know if you can see it on camera, that's why I have you zoomed in a little bit, but you can still see that I do have a blemish right here. It didn't cover it as nicely as I would have liked it to. I do have a few little dark spots on my cheeks that you can still kind of see on my nose and on my cheek area, so it didn't cover those like my other foundations do. I do have the L'Oreal Infallible foundation, the Pro Matte, and that foundation is amazing, and it's from the drugstore. So this foundation didn't give me the kind of coverage that I wanted it to give me. So those are my few little like setbacks about this foundation. However, I mean, everything as far as the color went on nicely. Now I do have to say, when I was applying the rest of my makeup on this particular foundation, I did set it with the RCMA setting powder, which is what I set all my foundations with. I set drugstore and high-end foundations, or yeah, I set drugstore and high-end foundations with that particular powder. That's what I use all the time. So that's what I set this with. But I felt like after I set the foundation with that powder and started to apply my makeup didn't really apply as nicely as it would have with my other foundations. I don't know why that was, but it just didn't apply the way that I wanted it to. My blush and bronzer got really patchy, and I kind of wasn't a huge fan of the way that my makeup applied over top of this foundation. But nonetheless, I'm going to wear this makeup throughout the rest of the day. And come back and give you my final thoughts on this foundation and see if what the website claims about this foundation does hold up to those claims. So it does say that it gives you a just applied look all day, and it improves your skin over time. I don't have 3 days to give you a full review to see if it's going to improve your skin, but I will see if it wears well throughout the day. So it is pretty early right now. It is 10:40 a.m. in the morning, and I'm going to wear this throughout the day. I do have a few things to do, and I do have a few errands to run prior to me leaving tomorrow, so I am definitely going to be wearing this foundation throughout the day, and I will come back at the end of the day to give you my final thoughts on this foundation. I will be back later. Alright guys, I am back with my final update for the day. So the time is now 4:35. I believe I started this about 10, maybe 10:30, a little bit before. I'm not sure, but it's been a total of like 6 hours, and here is my final update. So I am not a big fan of this foundation at all. You can see that I'm completely oily around this area right here, up on my, T-zone. Typically with foundations that I wear, like the L'Oreal Infallible or the Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation, I don't normally get this oily. Even when I apply a primer, I don't get this oily. And this foundation, I did apply the same primer that I apply, that I use underneath my other foundations. So I don't feel like this gives you the look of a just applied look all day like the website states. I don't believe that at all. I look really tired right now. I've been running around all day. I went to walk my dog. I've been running errands. I've been doing laundry. So I have definitely put this foundation to use today, and I can honestly say it didn't hold up to my standards for a foundation. I typically like a foundation, like I said in the beginning of this video, that's going to be more of a full coverage foundation without looking too cakey, and this, I just felt like when I applied it, it didn't give me the full coverage that I wanted. Even when I applied a second layer of it, it didn't give me the full coverage that I wanted. Also, when I was applying my other makeup, as far as like my bronzer and my blush, I don't know why, but the makeup just did not apply like it does with my other foundations. I don't know if that makes sense. I honestly think that's totally weird. I don't know why that happened, but I know that when I was applying my blush and bronzer, it was really patchy on my cheeks. It doesn't show now, but that's how it applied when I applied my blush and bronzer. So I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of this. If you like a foundation that's more of a less coverage foundation, something that's going to be more natural looking, I definitely think that this is a great foundation for you, but I just personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I know that I've heard great reviews on this foundation. Some people really like it, and then I also heard that some people just aren't a big fan of it. I personally wasn't a big fan of this foundation. The concealer, I think, was really good. It did hold up really well underneath my eyes. I think I could have gotten a darker shade, because I know that when I applied it, it just wasn't like the proper or the correct shade for me. I think I could have went a shade darker. But the concealer, I think, held up really nicely underneath my eyes. There's no creasing or anything like that. But as far as the foundation, I'm just not a huge fan of it. You know, you can see my birthmark is peeking through a lot more. I did have, you know, that blemish over here, and you can see like the spots on my face, the natural spots on my face are peeking through a lot. So yeah, this just wasn't a foundation that I'm a big fan of. So that is my final thoughts on the Maybelline SuperStay Better Skin foundation and the SuperStay Better Skin concealer. So if you guys have any oh, there's my phone. If you guys have any thoughts or any questions on this particular foundation or concealer, leave them in the comments down below, and I will answer any questions you guys might have. But yeah, that is my final review and thoughts on this foundation. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Until next time, I will see y'all soon. Bye!